No, the Therians are not the problem. The problem is that this society has domesticated humans so much that instinct no longer has space to exist. And when instinct can't be expressed as force, it expresses itself as identity. Let me ask you an uncomfortable question. And what if they're not trying to be animals, but rather trying to escape from a humanity that feels artificial? What you're seeing on social media isn't a trend. It's a symptom, and almost no one is willing to look at what it really means. They call them Therians. People who deeply identify with an animal: wolf, feline, fox, predator. On platforms like TikTok, it went viral, masks moving on all fours. Entire communities claiming that their essence is not completely human. Many ridicule them. Others celebrate it without questioning anything. But the question isn't whether they're right or wrong. The question is why this is happening now. When a generation starts to identify with animals, we're not dealing with a collective joke. We're facing a deep disconnection. And that disconnection isn't biological, it's spiritual. However, your energy isn't blocked, it's tamed. Since you were little, were you taught not to be too much, too intense, not to be aggressive, not to be dominant, not to be wild, not to be too much? They trained you to fit in, not to feel your instinct, that force that connects you with your body, intuition, presence. It was labeled as dangerous, and when instinct is repressed for years, it doesn't disappear. It sometimes turns into anxiety, sometimes into emptiness, sometimes into silent rage, and sometimes into identity. They don't want to be animals, they just want to stop feeling caged. But the unconscious doesn't speak through logic, it speaks in symbols. Carl Jung explained that when the conscious mind represses something, the unconscious expresses it through archetypes, and the animal is one of the oldest archetypes that exist. The wolf represents tribe, instinct, power without asking for permission. The feline represents autonomy, presence, silence, and the predator represents direction. When someone says my essence is a wolf, they might be saying something much deeper. My environment doesn't allow me to feel my strength. When the soul doesn't find space in the social structure, it expresses itself through primitive images, because the primitive is not inferior, it's prior, it's the root. However, there has never been so much spiritual discourse, guided meditations, vibration phrases, high manifestation, energy healing, awakening of consciousness, and yet there has never been so much disconnection from the body. That should already tell you something. We live in an era where spirituality has become mental, conceptual, aesthetic, and is shared more than it is embodied. Digital life, virtual identities, carefully designed profiles, avatars, filters. You build a version of yourself but rarely inhabit your real body. Minimal contact with real nature, hours in front of screens, artificial light, altered rhythms, almost no true silence. Human beings evolved walking barefoot on the earth, smelling the forest, feeling cold and heat, listening to animals. Now we spend more time touching glass than touching earth, and then we wonder why something inside feels disconnected. We talk about light but avoid the shadow. We talk about unconditional love but demonize healthy aggression. We talk about expansion but fear conflict. We talk about authenticity but punish intensity. A comfortable spirituality is promoted without friction, without instinct, without fire, but fire is part of the soul. The body is animal by nature. It breathes, sweats, trembles, desires, reacts, has impulses. Before you have thoughts, and when you deny your bodily nature for too long, something in you starts to fragment. First, it feels like disconnection, then like emptiness, then like confusion of identity. Because if you're not in your body, where are you? Many young people today don't know how to describe who they are without using labels. because they don't feel an embodied identity, they feel a conceptual identity. And when you don't know how to inhabit your humanity from within, you start looking for another narrative. We're not seeing teenagers wanting to be another species. We're seeing souls that don't know how to inhabit their own, souls that never learned how to.
Integrar, instinto, emoción, sombra, agresividad sana, territorialidad natural, deseo. Entonces buscan símbolos. El animal no aparece por casualidad. El animal representa lo que fue reprimido. Representa cuerpo, representa instinto, representa libertad de actuar sin sobrepensar cada movimiento. Pero el problema no es sentir conexión con el animal. Eso puede ser profundamente simbólico
and powerful. One problem is having lost connection with your embodied humanity. Because when you don't know how to be human in your body, any alternative identity seems more authentic. And that's where the real wound is. It's not zoological, it's spiritual. A spirituality disconnected from instinct creates fragmentation. A spirituality that doesn't integrate the shadow leads to escapism. And when the soul doesn't find roots in the earth, it starts to imagine that it belongs to another realm. But healing is not about abandoning what is human. It's about inhabiting it completely, with body, with shadow, with strength, with awareness. That's what this generation didn't learn, and that's what it needs to remember. Perfect. Here we're going to go deeper, more visceral, more like a mirror, more uncomfortable, but without exaggerating, so that the man who hears it can't escape from himself. However, now stop thinking about them. Stop analyzing the phenomenon. Think about yourself. How often did you downplay your intensity to avoid making others uncomfortable? How many times did you lower your voice so you wouldn't seem dominant? How many times did you soften your character so you would be accepted? How many times did you feel a truth burning in your chest and swallowed it? How many times did you pretend to be calm when inside you wanted to roar? You were taught to be proper, polite, controlled, predictable. But they didn't teach you to be alive. They didn't teach you to understand your aggressiveness as a creative force. They didn't teach you to use your anger as guidance. They didn't teach you that instinct is not an enemy, it's a compass. So you did what most people do. You shrank and you reduced your presence. You measured your words. You held back your energy. You became manageable. Being intense makes people uneasy, and being clear frightens them. Being firm creates friction, and society prefers functional men over awakened men. When a man loses contact with his instinct, he becomes docile, not because he is weak, but because he was conditioned. And when he becomes docile for too long, something inside starts to fade away. It feels comfortable, like apathy, like a lack of direction, like tiredness without any apparent reason, like a life that works but doesn't feel alive. It's not necessarily clinical depression. It's disconnection from your instincts. Maybe you didn't want to be a wolf, but you did want to escape from the feeling of being trapped in a reduced version of yourself. The acceptable version, the safe version, the version that doesn't bother anyone. It fits, but it doesn't burn. That's also domestication. And modern domestication doesn't use chains. It uses approval. It uses fear of rejection. It uses the need to belong. They convinced you that intensity is danger, that firmness is toxicity, that territoriality is immaturity, that strong ambition is ego. So you learn to ask for permission to exist. And little by little, your instincts stop trusting you. That domestication can't be seen. It doesn't have a uniform. It doesn't have a name. But you feel it. You feel it when you enter a place and automatically lower your energy. You feel it when you know what you should say and choose to stay silent. You sense it when you adapt so much to your environment that you lose track of where you begin. The man who shrank wasn't born that way. He learned to be that way. And everything that is learned can be unlearned. The question isn't whether you have instinct. The question is how much longer you're going to keep negotiating it. But there's a huge and almost invisible difference between integrating your instinct and escaping your humanity. From the outside, they may look the same. Both speak of strength. Both speak of nature. Both speak of something primitive, but energetically, they are opposites. To integrate is to take responsibility. To escape is to avoid it. Connecting with the animal archetype can be profoundly powerful. Many ancient cultures did not see the animal as something inferior. They saw it as a symbol of inner medicine. The jaguar represented power and vision in the darkness. The wolf represented tribe and strategy. The eagle represented perspective and clarity. The animal was not an identity to escape into. It was a mirror to remember inner qualities. It was never about ceasing to be human. It was always about remembering the whole human being. That's the difference. Awakening is not about becoming something else. It's not about symbolically changing species. It's not about replacing your identity with a more comfortable narrative. It's about integrating everything you already are. Your rationality, your emotion, your shadow, your instinct, your desire, your fear, your healthy aggressiveness, your capacity for care, everything, without fragmenting yourself. When identity is used to avoid human pain, it becomes evasion, and human pain is inevitable. Rejection, shame, failure, confusion, loneliness. Integrating your instinct means going through those experiences with presence. Escaping means looking for a narrative that protects you from feeling them. Sometimes the mind creates characters when the soul doesn't want to go through the fire. But no character can replace the inner work. True instinct doesn't need a mask. It doesn't need performance. It doesn't need group validation. It needs direction. An integrated man doesn't act wild. He holds his energy. He doesn't roar on impulse. He speaks when necessary. He doesn't impose out of fear. He sets boundaries calmly. Primitive strength without awareness can be destructive, but integrated primitive strength is deeply magnetic. It's not about denying the animal. It's about elevating it, transforming aggression into determination, desire into discipline, territoriality into clear boundaries, intensity into presence. That's internal alchemy. That's embodied spirituality. Because spirituality isn't about escaping the body. It's about inhabiting it without fear. Instinct is not the enemy. It's your raw material, but only when you go through it with awareness. If you use it to escape, it fragments you. If you use it to integrate yourself, it strengthens you. And that's the invisible line that almost no one explains. It's not human versus animal. It's the unconscious versus the conscious. It's not alternative identity versus traditional identity. It's fragmentation versus integration. The question
No es con qué animal te identificas. La pregunta,
are you using that energy to avoid your pain or to go through it? Because the one who goes through the fire is transformed. The one who avoids it puts on a disguise. And true spirituality doesn't create disguises. It creates integration, however you talk about awakening your instinct. But what are you feeding it with? Instinct is also trained. It gets sharpened. I left you 30 days of Audible for free in the description. Audiobooks that help you integrate strength and awareness. If you're going to awaken the wolf, give him something serious to listen to. The inner ritual. If something in this video made you uncomfortable, that's a good sign. Because instinct doesn't awaken with gentle words. Now comes the important part. It's not enough to understand. You have to practice. For the next 7 days, you're going to run an experiment on yourself. A simple ritual, but profound. Step 1. Don't start by trying to change anything. Start by observing. Your only task for the first few days is to notice the exact second when you shrink. That almost imperceptible moment when you were about to say something, but you softened it. You were going to set a boundary, but you let it go. You were going to take the initiative, but you hesitated. You were going to hold eye contact, but you looked away. That split second is gold. That's where your repressed instinct lives. Don't judge the impulse. Observe it. Ask yourself inwardly, what was I about to do that I decided not to do? It's not destructive aggression. It's authenticity being held back. Step 2. Here you need clarity. Not every impulse is wisdom. Some impulses come from the wounded ego, and some impulses come from your center.
¿Cómo los diferencias?
The reactive impulse is born from fear or a wound. It wants to attack. It wants to dominate. It wants to release tension. The authentic impulse comes from clarity. It doesn't want to destroy. It wants to affirm. The authentic impulse feels firm, not frantic, or it feels like a steady energy that says, this is who I am. Learn to recognize that difference. That is awareness applied to instinct. Step 3. When you detect an authentic impulse, don't act on it automatically, but don't repress it either. Breathe through it, literally. Take a deep breath. Feel where it is in your body, in your chest, in your abdomen, in your jaw, in your posture. Is instinct energy in your posture? Instinct is physiological energy. It's not a theory. By breathing it in, you are avoiding two extremes, repressing it. Blowing up, you are doing something more powerful. You are integrating it. Step 4. Now we're ready. After feeling it, ask yourself, how can I express this energy consciously? Practical examples. If the impulse was to set a boundary, don't shout. Speak firmly. If the impulse was to speak a truth, don't attack. Be direct with them. If the impulse was to take initiative, don't wait for validation. Act.
Instinto sin conciencia es caos. Instinto con conciencia es liderazgo. La diferencia no está en sentir más o menos, está en dirigir.
Step 5. Instinct is not integrated only mentally. It is integrated in the body. Over the next few days, do something that physically reconnects you with yourself. Do strength training. Walk without headphones. Hold eye contact longer than usual. Speak a little slower and with a deeper voice. Take up space with your posture. Small adjustments, but cumulative. Your nervous system needs to experience that you can handle intensity without collapsing. That rebuilds instinctive confidence. Step 6. When you start to integrate your instincts, something will happen. There will be friction. Some people will feel uncomfortable. Some dynamics will change. You will feel internal resistance. That doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. It means you're breaking out of domestication. The integrated man is not aggressive, but he's not manageable either. He's aware, and that makes those who were used to your reduced version uncomfortable. Step 7. Every night, ask yourself 3 questions. Where did I shrink today? Where did I express myself clearly? What did I learn about my instinct? No guilt, no drama, just awareness. In a few days, you'll see something. You feel more present, more solid, more aligned. Not because you became wilder, but because you stopped betraying yourself. It's not about becoming more civilized. You're already domesticated enough. It's about becoming more integrated. Instinct is not the enemy of spirituality. It's its root. Because a truly spiritual man is not the one who floats outside his body. He's the one who inhabits his body consciously. And when that happens, you no longer need masks. You no longer need labels. You no longer need to escape. You become whole. And that's the most rebellious thing you can do in this society. If this message touched you, it means you're not watching this video out of morbid curiosity. You're watching it because something inside knows it shrank. Comment. I'm integrating my instinct. It's not a pretty phrase, it's a decision. And if you write it down, do it knowing that from today on, you can no longer pretend you didn't hear it. The Therians are not the enemy. They're not the problem. They're not the threat. They're the visible symptom of something invisible. A symptom of a society that domesticated humans so much That instinct had to find new ways to express itself. When a culture represses intensity, the body looks for symbols. When a generation loses its roots, the soul looks for archetypes. When instinct doesn't find direction, it finds identity. That's what we're seeing. It's not zoology, it's deep psychology, it's repressed energy, it's fragmented spirituality. But here's the part that really matters. The real rebellion isn't putting on a mask. It's not claiming to be a different species in words. It's not building an alternative identity to feel powerful. The real rebellion is much more uncomfortable. It's remembering your nature without ceasing to be human. Remember that you have instinct. Remember that you have a shadow. Remember that you have healthy aggression. Remember that you have an inner territory. Remember that you have strength. And stop thinking you need permission for it. Maybe you don't need to become a wolf. Maybe you need to stop acting like a sheep. Maybe you just need to stop negotiating your intensity so others feel comfortable. Maybe stop numbing your fire to fit into small structures. Because modern domestication doesn't destroy your body. It diminishes your spirit, makes you functional, but it doesn't make you feel alive. And now the question is yours. It's not about them, it's about you. Will you keep suppressing your instinct to keep others' approval? Will you keep toning down your character to avoid conflict? Are you going to keep living as a reduced version of yourself? Or are you going to learn to direct your energy consciously? Because repressed instinct creates confusion. Directed instinct creates purpose. The world doesn't need more tamed men. There are already enough. Men who function but don't feel. Who speak but don't stand their ground. Who exist but don't burn with passion. The world needs men who are aware of their strength, men who integrate their shadow, who use their aggressiveness as direction, who don't run away from the body, who aren't afraid of their intensity. That isn't learned on social media. It can't be bought in a course. It isn't acquired with a label. It is remembered, activated, embodied. And when a man remembers who he is without masks, without running from his nature, without fragmenting himself, he doesn't need to proclaim himself a wolf. It's obvious in his gaze, in his presence, in his silence. True rebellion doesn't make noise, it builds resolve. And maybe while everyone argues whether someone is human or animal, the most honest question is still this one. Are you living in line with what you are, or in line with what you were taught to be?